people that do not speak in the international language.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope
thing.
to see great stand-up comedians that speak Igbo, that speak Yoruba as well, and embrace the culture. Obviously, the chances of you cutting across is low. However, who says you need to cross across? You need to cut across, though. You should. We should embrace our stuff so well that people, the international community,
have no choice but to look at us.
But just know that it's going to be very, very difficult for you to cut across if you don't speak an international language.
Welcome to the Humour Awards Academy, and of course it's the 4th edition, Create Your Chance. This is actually a special edition podcast, and it will be featuring a couple of, really amazing guests who within the humor industry. My name is Ermandha. Yay! Okay guys, so today I have a very special guest. His name is SLK, who's also a content creator, comedian, and he rose to fame with his Naija mindset. And of course, his hit, comedy series was on Netflix, and it's made him a global, voice representing Nigeria globally. Ladies and gentlemen, it's SLK. Oshay.
My comedy special was on Netflix. Yeah. It's called Titotlar.
Wow, Tito, yeah. It's kind of hard for people to pronounce.
Yeah, so I always tell them that they should just type SLK and on Netflix and I'll pop up. And SLK, if people don't know how to spell the Titotlar, sometimes what was I thinking choosing that title? Well,
I know you knew what you're thinking. Because I'm sure we can even create skits out of that, like the pronunciation. So obviously. And of course, it puts you in a different niche because, we have some comedians who would say feature mostly, in the hood. I don't want to use ghetto, but I'm saying like local. And yours is a bit more, refined for a more refined audience.
Yeah, if you put it that way, I would say okay. Even though so here's the thing. I somehow think that I'm quite versatile, and it obviously depends on who I'm talking with.
Yeah.
But if you leave me to myself, like I think in English and I speak English, so that's just basic.
Okay.
And so, but if I find myself at a gathering of a lot of Yoruba people, I can flow. If I find myself at a gathering of, like if I'm doing crowd work, for example, I mostly do it in our local parlance, just so that is
everyone gets
broken down.
Yeah. Okay, so like, why is your stance defensive?
That's
Don't mind me.
I learned that in a psychology book like
why?
this.
Like, okay.
Sorry, I was just being comfortable. The AC was
really
so it's not,
we want you to.
I'm not.
We want you to relax.
I'm relaxed.
I know.
I'm relaxed.
Okay, so now let's get into this is the 4th edition of the Humour Awards, and this is titled "Create Your Chance." And right now, Nigeria's comedy is taking center stage in the global world. Why would you say it is doing that right now?
Nigerian comedy taking center stage in the global world.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a stretch, but I feel maybe okay, maybe from the standpoint of skits. Yeah.
Skits, yeah.
But obviously, skits. Yeah, because you can tell from people like I think just when I was coming here, I saw that Will Smith was watching Oluwadola's skits, and I know Taoma has done like a few collaborations. I know there's what's this guy's name?
Josh, who?
Yeah, Josh, obviously Josh. There is a lot of them.
Even Shanks now is on.
Shank, I was trying to remember.
The university
Shank
thing.
So obviously, skit making, there is that because skit is more physical.
Yeah.
There's more physicality to it.
Yeah.
So it's almost like music where it transcends culture. Like once you can hear the beat, once you hear the flow, sometimes you don't even need to know what the person is saying.
Yeah.
People sing, I need to go, I don't know what they mean.
Yeah.
But with stand-up, it's a little more difficult to transcend because it's socio-cultural one.
Exactly.
And it's, in Nigeria here, it's even more unique because we mostly speak our local parlance, which might not be intelligible to other in other cultures. And of course, even when you speak English, sometimes the references go over people's heads because I can talk about maybe Nancy Isime.
Yeah.
And someone in America might not know
No.
who that
Yeah.
is. So obviously, stand-up comedy is usually customized for the audience. So that's why it's a little more different it's a little more difficult, I beg your pardon, for stand-up comedy to cut across as easy as skit making or music.
No, I seem to share like similar views with you, because I feel also like what might be funny to us here might not cut across because some things are actually sacred. Some things border on religion and they're sacred. And when you cross into that, like as a joke, for example, let's say in India, we talk about like the cows, and in Nigeria, especially for, like say the Yoruba sect where cows are eating.
Exactly.
So if you're saying something, it could come across like offensive. Okay, but you've done something like, your show was on Netflix, like your comedy special, Total and Totola, right? And it made an impact. Why do you think it did that, like regardless? Because now you're doing stand-up comedy there, also. So why do you think it was able to make the impact it did?
So of course, you do 50% of the work of crossing over, more than 50% when you speak English. Because obviously now they're beginning to understand what you're saying.
Okay.
However, some topics cut across relationships, men and women. Even Christianity. When you talk about death, whether you are white, whether you're Hispanic, whether you're black, you die, you marry, and somehow women are the same all over the world.
Let's not go into that. You said women are the same.
Yeah, women.
Okay,
women are,
I'm interested in hearing your
nobody
insights.
has been able to understand women. So, but like, and so people have that issue all around the world, no matter what language you speak.
I think that cuts across to all human beings. Human behavior is unpredictable.
I think men are more straightforward all around the world.
Straightforward. What does that mean? Like, well, let's not go political now.
No, but I'm saying that. So Titotlar had a lot of neutral references. I spoke about R. Kelly. I spoke about I begin to forget now because I've done quite a
You've
bit
done
after.
a whole lot. I agree.
Yeah, but I remember R. Kelly was a reference in Titotlar, and it kind of cut across as well. So yeah, but still in Titotlar there were a lot of things that were local that
definitely you have to integrate both, because it shows your background. Yeah,
exactly.
Okay, so now like seeing that you've made this impact, how do you think comedians in general, like Nigerian comedians or even African comedians, can reach out to the global community with their comedy? Because you're talking about like the language now, like it's not all of the comedians in Nigeria that have that ability, because some of them, that's why I mentioned from the beginning, like some of them are for like the local audience, and while you have been able to leverage on your education, because I feel like it's your education that's giving you an edge too. Right?
Which is not my fault.
I'm not blaming
no,
you.
I'm just saying.
No.
I know you're not blaming me. I'm just saying that.
I'm saying
that's. I would say I'm blessed in that regard because I didn't choose my schools.
Your parents did.
Yeah, I was just privileged to have that. However, so this brings me to it's a very perfect segue because I feel like most people think somehow against people speaking pidgin or speaking Yoruba in their craft, and I say no because I feel obviously there's nothing you can do about a lot of things. Also, if he's not, Bobby speaks impeccable English.
Yeah.
However, he does his jokes in pidgin because that's what he's most comfortable. That's what he believes can get his point across more. And I feel like that works because whatever whatever. I always tell people
Yeah.
that you do your jokes in the language you're
more comfortable in.
Yeah, you're most comfortable with. And I feel so in that regard, I would say if you're comfortable with English, I guess that helps to cut across. However, if you are not, I don't think we should force people or try to make them speak. If you are willing to learn, that's fine.
Yeah.
If you are willing to explore, that's fine. We can explore things like what's it called? Subtitles. We can explore things like that. However, I think we should also be comfortable with the fact that only people that can understand us will make us laugh. I will use an example of Adebiyi. Adebiyi is a legend. I'm sure people from New Orleans don't know him. I don't think he's less talented than Richard Pryor.
Yeah.
I think he was a beast, for want of a better word, using our words. But his talent, for people that know him,
Okay.
he spoke Yoruba. He made jokes in Yoruba. He did stand up in Yoruba.
Okay.
In the US, obviously to the Nigerian audience.
Of course, the
But
Nigerian community is
Nigerian
that,
community is
yeah.
everywhere. So in the end, you can't force. You couldn't have forced. It's late now. You couldn't have forced Adebiyi to speak English. It probably would not. It would not be as funny.
But maybe like his body language. For example, let's use this guy that's really popular on TikTok and stuff. What's his name again? That was sent away from the United States. Is it Kabi or what's his name? That's
Yeah. So
yeah.
he's
So I'm
the
saying
number
maybe
three.
the body language.
That's like
too.
Mr. Bean. That's
Yeah.
like Mr. Bean as well. Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I mean by skit makers transcending. While stand-up comedy, if you're going to do stand-up comedy, you're not going to be
Just
silent.
mute. Okay.
I mean, it's just you against me, except you're a puppeteer or something. But yeah, again, so you see, if you're going to do stand-up, the people you are speaking to have to understand. If not, they won't laugh.
So you're saying let's make this adaptable, like to the international community. So So that means it's like a scientific type of experiment that you have to do at your comedy clubs to keep refining the comedy until it has that appeal for the international.
But
community.
I'm very careful to keep the originality of it.
Yeah.
And I know that people have lofty dreams and we have lofty. But at the same time, I think it's also okay for us to celebrate our own and push our own such that people will now want to attract people.
You.
So, for example, I'm watching a Chris Rock special. Chris Rock, I learned a lot about American culture from watching specials.
Okay.
I've watched Chris Rock, Dave Chappelle, all these guys. And a lot of times I don't laugh because I don't understand what they're saying. Then I check. And I don't understand. Like I learned, in fact, the first time I heard about O.J. Simpson was from Chris Rock. That's the first time, and I had to.
And you're wondering who this person was.
And I went, checked the whole scandal, and I feel like while we're also trying to appeal, which is fine, appeal to the international community, we should also be original enough for them to also be curious about our
culture,
things, our culture as
yeah.
well. So people that can speak English and do their jokes in English should. I mean, be as original as you can.
Of course, because there's another thing again. I think it's like a trap in Nigeria when you speak very well. Like you said, your parents chose your school. But when you speak very well, Nigerians sometimes, I won't call all Nigerians, they attack you and they say you're forming. And I sometimes say you can't give what you don't have. So those that, like you're saying, like those that speak impeccable English, we should give them that grace and all of that.
We should allow them explore. And of course, people that do not speak in the international language.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope to see great stand-up comedians that speak Igbo, that speak Yoruba as well, and embrace the culture. Obviously, the chances of you cutting across is low. However, who says you need to cross across? You need to cut across, though. We should embrace our stuff so well that people, the international community,
have no choice but to look at us.
But just know that it's going to be very, very difficult for you to cut across if you don't speak an international language.
Yeah.
That's obvious. We stand up, not with music. With music is different, like I established.
No,
With
obviously,
skit making is different.
because
With
of the
movies
sound.
is different. But with stand up being a kind of art form where you're just you and nobody else.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay, but I've seen something, for example, like you now, like when you had like your deal with Netflix, it felt like individual. then we have the group, when some comedians go outside Nigeria and create shows, but they don't have international appeal in groups. It seems to be like an individual, thing that has much more impact on the internet. For example, a group of comedians put themselves together, or we're flying to Manchester. But it seems like, there's the Nigerian community that's like the target, and maybe other Jamaicans and other people who understand a bit of our culture.
Yeah.
But when it comes to your own case now, that because it's on Netflix, a whole lot of people are going to see it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, there are no ethnic barriers and stuff like that. So my question is, how then do we drive, the group, thing more to the international market rather than just making it exclusive for just our people there?
No, so I think it's what you're trying to, whatever it is you're trying to get out of the craft. So when I went to Canada, I was privileged to headline 4 comedy clubs.
Wow, nice.
Yeah, 4 comedy clubs over there headlined. These are locals. These are Canadians. They're not Nigerians.
Yeah.
And what that did for me was to get into my creative zone, and I did jokes for them.
Okay.
And they all went well. And why I say this is, I've always wanted to do that. I feel like one of the most difficult things a stand-up comedian can do is to do a joke out of his ethnicity, out of his socio-cultural
experiences.
enclave. Do you understand what I'm saying? But, right now, performing to a different culture, the different race is very difficult, and I really wanted that challenge. However, we have most times when Nigerian comedians go to America, go to the UK, do tours, is usually for the Nigerian community. Again, it circles back to what I'm saying. It depends on what you want to get out of the craft. I'm not against you wanting to just service the Nigerian community.
Yeah.
That's fine. The
but
Nigerians are spread.
Beyond that,
breaking beyond that, we now require a lot of work, because now you have to understand their culture to a very good extent, or again, like I said earlier, you need to zoom into the generic topics. So you will need to do a lot more as regards. And again, one of the cheat codes. Someone like Lenmore Jonasi is a Zimbabwean comedian, and he's really making waves in America right now. He does a lot of comparing. Oh, in Africa we do this. Personally, again, when I was on that trip, and I tried. I felt like that is what they would want me to say. And I feel like that's very easy. So in my head, and this is just me, again, challenging myself, because obviously I did some of those in Nigeria. I saw their police and our police. It's just easy. It's just in your face. So I figured that, okay, now I want to go into... So after that was my first time. So after my first gig, I decided to, why don't I explore my thoughts actually and see. So it's easy. One of the easiest ways to cut across, especially to perform to locals over there in Canada and America, is comparison. How would this be in my place? It's very easy to cut across, and then you can now go into your thoughts and observational comedy, basically.
Like really well said. So after all you said, my thought now is, if you were to advise someone younger, like a younger comedian, whether stand-up, especially stand-up, what would you say to them to create their chance? Because, this edition is actually about creating your chance. So, because you've created your chance, and we celebrate that.
Thank you.
Yeah, we celebrate that. So what would you say to, someone young watching you and saying, okay, I want to, pave the way or just follow in the footsteps of SLK. I want to leave the comfort zones. Okay. What would you say? How can they create their chance?
I don't know why this is coming to my head, but the first thing is, your name does not have to be funny.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, like you're think like a speaker. Stand-up comedy is just a speaker that does humor. In fact, I compare it a lot with pastoral ministry, because it's just, the difference is just that someone is serious and adds joke, while the other one is joking and adds seriousness. So your name doesn't have to be funny. I see a lot of people like MC Sambisa, trying to
go
or something mouth,
like,
trying to attach mouth or baba. No,
Yeah.
you don't have to. Julius Agu, Bobby, Chris Rock,
Yeah, their
Dave
names.
Chappelle. Use your name. Your name is fine. I used SLK
yeah.
because I'd been called SLK since I was a kid.
Okay.
Since I was in Justice 3.
Is that Silk?
Salako is my son.
I know, like
So
your voice is silky.
maybe. So, SLK had been my nickname. Look at AY. Something cool, something easy to. If your name is too long, you can shorten it. But just ensure that Kevin Hart, Kevin's former name, somebody changed it for him. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's always better to use. It gives you. Speaking of appeal to cut across any society, it gives you that appeal. Then it makes people take you more seriously, even though you're a comedian. Also, you need to know what you want to get out of the craft. Do you really love the craft? Are you just doing it because economy and all of that? I mean, which is not bad, but obviously, if you're doing it for economy, you're not going to want to task yourself like I am doing, saying, okay, I want to perform to white people. You probably will not need to do that because you're making your money in Nigeria and you're fine. Do you understand what I'm saying? If I was telling someone that if I chose to follow in the footsteps of just hosting events, which was like the major thing at the time, or which is still the major thing, if you're a comedian, you just host events, and you just told that line since I started out, I probably would be Dangote's mates now.
Wow. Are you serious?
I mean, exaggeration, but yeah. But I just decided to do the difficult part of doing stand-up and just sticking to stand-up, like trying to make sure stand-up comedy. I mean, I host events.
Obviously,
I MC gigs.
MC.
But I just have this predilection for stand-up comedy, which, again, goes with my advice that I feel like if you want to know you have to know whether you really love the craft.
Yeah, or you're just there for the money.
Which is not bad. If you're there for the money, just do the business, host gigs, enjoy yourself. But if you really love the craft, you might want to task yourself a lot more. You might want to start writing more. You want to watch more. You want to watch people that are doing what you want to do. Watch Wild and Wild. When people come to my comedy club, when young comedians say, "Oh, they want mentorship," or they want me to, I just tell them, just watch and perform. Watch and perform. Watch and perform. You're going to. It's autodidactic.
Okay.
Self-learning. You're going to teach yourself because once you got. And again, beautiful thing is that comedy clubs are beginning to pop up, which is going to be very helpful in our art, in our creative process. Because now comedians, I do say this, that I think this present young comics that we have right now, especially in Lagos, because that's where I am. I feel like they are the most creative bunch I've seen in a while, because now we have comedy clubs. Now they are doing specials, and so because comedy clubs are popping up here and there, they have places. You see, a lot of them come every week, coming with new stuff. This was not something I was used to when I started out. I saw a lot of comedians do same jokes for 10, 15 years. Do you understand? But these guys keep writing. They keep writing about current stuff. They keep actually putting
in the work.
So I know a lot of young comedians that have 2, 3, 4 specials in them.
Wow.
Yeah, they have 2, 3, 4 specials in them. Not yet.
And have you thought about producing any one of them?
No, I will, by God's grace. It's
nice.
in the works. But yeah, so yeah, those are the things that build us up in such a way. Like look at you see a country, a city doing a comedy festival because they have a plethora of comedy clubs, and it's just as the culture keeps building, as we're focusing on the art now, we're going to be having different and a wide variety of stand-up comedians. I have some stand-up comedians that are into stories. I have stand-up comedians that are into one-liners. So we're going to have different kinds, and that way we can export it. We have more to export to the world.
Definitely, and something like to attract people to
exactly.
come see.
And then
nice.
I like the preponderance of stand-up comedy specials that we're beginning to see, which was not what it was before I did my first stand-up comedy special in 2018. Now we have people packaging and putting their comedy specials out on YouTube, out on Netflix or whatever it is. And then that is what is going to, because somebody is going to watch, again, speaking of cutting across, I mean, it's a small village. The world is a global village, so
Yeah.
they say. And so anybody around the world gets on someone's YouTube page, my YouTube page. I have the Just in Case Child is showing on YouTube.
Okay.
Watches it. He likes it. If he likes it, he wants to see more. And then he becomes a Nigerian stand-up comedy fan.
Yeah.
He begins to understand. Like me, I discovered Chris Rock and I started discovering every other person.
Every other person attached to
That's how
the
it-
story.
yeah, exactly.
Wow, like this was really amazing because for me, I think I've taken it to be that production might just be the way forward on the global stage.
I think
because
so.
if you create your own stand-up comedy special and you're able to put it together better, and maybe with your help, they might be able to see like comedy implode around the world and all that.
You
yeah.
can't divorce the success of any form of art from the recording and the putting out of content. For example, do you realize that the music itself is content? Anything that has
course,
replay
everything.
value,
Yeah.
music videos, those are why is Afrobeat where it is today? People saw music videos, people saw our songs, people listen to our songs. Do you understand what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because they put it on replay. Why is the movies Nollywood obviously. People are actually sitting there watching it.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's
right.
entering homes without knocking, especially with the advent of social media and streaming platforms. And so now here you go. Stand-up comedy culture, stand-up comedy in Nigeria, for long, especially in Nigeria, for a long time, it felt like, I mean, especially post, again, think about it. Night of 1,000 Laughs. We had CDs. We could take it with
Yeah.
us. You know. So, but now we didn't. In the digital era, we failed to tap into the digital space until like 2018. Now, here's the thing. For long, after post Night of 1,000 Laughs and all of that, you needed to experience stand up. You needed to go to the shows.
Yeah.
How many
yeah.
people go to the show? How many people can even attend the show?
You
in
know,
Nigeria?
with COVID itself, so a
Do you
lot of things
understand?
changed.
You needed
yeah.
to go to, but now with creating content out of it, with different forms of content, people can now watch. You don't have to be there
Yeah.
eventually to watch, and that's how the interest is picked. Like I get people that come to because they watch my specials. They now start asking where are these shows I want to
Yeah.
attend, and they get interest and they come to my shows. I run a comedy club, for example, and they attend.
Yeah.
And so that's how it works.
Okay, so I wanted to ask you now with Netflix or platforms like Netflix, maybe Amazon Prime and stuff, do they come to you guys or do our comedians have to chase after these companies?
Again, like I said, I wish we did not take a hiatus from creating content like we did during the era of Night of 1,000 Laughs. Because what had now happened was, take for example Nollywood, the movie industry.
Yeah.
They used to have CDs. We used to go and rent CDs and all of that. And when cinema came, they jumped on it. They did, obviously. Cinema is movies.
Yeah, of course.
Then, so there were still movies in the cinemas, movies on CDs and all of that stuff. And then when Netflix came, they met movies on the ground. And it was just, in fact, there were movies on our TV as well, multi-choice and all of that stuff. But eventually, now, it was easy for them to make that switch to streaming.
Yeah.
Because when Netflix came, they met those things on ground and they just commissioned produce. That's when we now had Genevieve do the Lionheart.
Yeah. I remember.
But in our own case, where I felt we made an error was after the era of CDs, we just stopped. Which was Night of 1,000 Laughs basically, and I think AY Live as well. We stopped creating deliberately as a production, and so we just had was just YouTube poorly recorded or poorly just uploaded. Nigerian comedy, let me just laugh. It just felt like that. And so when the streamers came, there was I strongly believe that if we still pushed the special culture, if we push the special culture to the digital space, when they if we had a comedy special on TV, for example, comedy specials on TV,
it
dropped
should have been
on
easier
TV,
for them to
dropped on even YouTube, dropped on everywhere, even in the cinemas. Netflix will have come to meet a thriving stand-up comedy
with a structure
that
they could understand.
probably will have bought into it, but they didn't. So we now had to, after several tries, now sending to a film distributor. Film distributor will now push it to them. And when they are in the mood, they pick it up. And so so we're still hoping to double that. That's why I'm happy about the doubling down of comedy specials on YouTube. We have a lot of them now, and I feel like gradually we're going to get their attention, and they would want to invest more.
So basically, because even Netflix, and we've heard rumors that they're having difficulties with even the movie industry. So it means that you have to liaise with maybe a distributor.
Yeah.
Then they push your,
but the final decision still rests with Netflix.
So basically, you have to kind of go to them rather than them coming to solicit us for.
Maybe.
No, because you're creating something outstanding. That's why they accepted it. But I'm saying, like, generally, their mindset towards the comedy industry would be, oh, you guys have to come to us and show us what you have, rather than us coming to you because we can't really see so much,
Yeah, so I think it's just more of the fact that they are fine without us. They think they're fine without us, and so they will now have to give them like
what they need, the production,
make them convinced about investing in us. I don't know about the conversations they have with the OGs. Maybe Ali, Bovi, and Basketball can have a different story to tell. But from where I stand,
but some of them also have like production, like maybe other things besides just that comedy. So maybe they go to them with that. Yeah,
and again, it's always what I think. I feel like when people say stand-up comedy is dead in Nigeria, I feel like it comes from a place of you probably killed it. Like it comes from a place of we were not feeding it. And so if we're not feeding it, it's going to die. It's going to die. Well, it's what you show people that people see. I feel like, which is what I think is like content. We're not creating the content around enough for people to engage. That's why
maybe even refining it for the global audience.
For the global audience.
With activities going on there, like pairing it with local stuff and just making. Okay, so moving on, like I think.
And guess what? Sorry, all this while we had great shows. We're having great shows. I mean, Bovi was doing Man on Fire and he was killing it. I'm sure AY was doing it, but we never just released it as a package. That's my point.
I understand what you're saying. Being that, I've had my background there, like within the industry. So I've seen that sometimes when it comes to production, comedians don't put so much effort into that. They just feel like, oh, let me get the venue, let me do all of this. So production just comes like last. But you're saying now, production is really key to us having, a global or whatever.
So. I think so.
And that would probably attract, those kind of platforms to come solicit. Okay, so now what sacrifices have you made to get to this stage?
Sounds like a question for Kanayo.
Oh my God.
What sacrifices have I made? Okay, so I always say this, and people think I am trying to be overtly Puritan. However, I say it, and in all honesty, I mean it. It might not be the best advice, but there is no project of mine that is not a passion project. I don't think about money when I'm creating. I create from inside out. I don't look at what people want before creating. I feel that's art. Yeah. Which is, I do whatever I really want to do. I always say that. I recently say, and that's part of the reasons why I stopped But I Was You, but that's a story for another day. But I always say that I am probably one of the most artistically free comedians you would ever find. And this was largely influenced by Dave Chappelle, if I'm being honest, because I really just want to do what I want to do and what makes so much sense to me. And that's how. So circling back to your question, I've had to let go of a lot of things. I've had to sacrifice money. I've had to sacrifice cheap fame because I do not. Again, I will not even call it sacrifice because in the end, I don't believe that that's the essence of life. I don't believe you should be popular for nothing. I think we have a lot of people famous for nothing, and it's a ticking time bomb. Yeah, people don't know it. People think it makes sense, but like fame and fortune should respond to value. Yeah, should respond to what you do and not the other way around. You should not just go around chasing fame but I just refuse to chase fame and fortune. As a target. Rather, I just do
your
what I
thing,
want to
yeah.
do and be known for my works rather than just known. You understand what I mean?
Exactly.
So I'm not going to be the kind of person that would sponsor a post about myself for nothing.
Okay.
I only push my projects. I push my work. Again, in a society like ours, that might be some sort of sacrifice, because now you are not as popular as
Yes, exactly.
you can be.
Yes, because you're not dwelling on the
Yeah, do you know what I'm saying?
non-entities. You're more focused on the artistic
Yeah, I'm
pursuits.
just very artistic.
Yeah.
I tweeted once that he raised eyebrows. I said, I'm not a businessman, I'm an artist. And yeah, if you understand, you understand.
Of course,
Yeah.
there's a showbiz part. You know what I took from the beginning of your statement was the Puritan, and you contrasted it with the sacrifice.
Yeah.
You know, Puritan feels pure and
Yeah. Yeah.
there's a play in my head, but I don't really want to go there. But like, that was profound for me. I'm sure some people caught what he did there with that.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's next for you? Another tour, Netflix special? Where are we going to see you again?
Everything. So like, my head is full. There's a lot. Like I told you, I live inside out. You know, I do things based on what I want. I shot a special. I did a show and I recorded it, of course, like I do for all my shows. Last October, is yet to be released. We're trying to get the streaming platform. It might be Netflix, it might be Prime.
Wow.
Fingers crossed. It's really good. I think is my best work yet. It's called It's Payback. You know.
Wow.
So yeah, that's going to be released. I'm working on my movie. I've done this script. I've gathered the crew. Just trying to shoot. I'm shooting really soon. I wrote the script some years ago, 2 years ago, but the script is ready.
This is the time now.
I've spoken to the director. So we're gathering. We're about to shoot my first feature film. That is. Then I have a comedy special that I'm going to record that I just finished writing, literally like this week. I just finished. I just finished writing. I've been tasking my team, and we're about to shoot. I don't even know when we're going to shoot it, but we're going to shoot it.
Sure.
And so there's a comedy special in the pipeline. And of course, my comedy club still runs. JJC, Jokes, Jabs, and Chills, every Wednesday at John Rockets VI. There is also my comedy podcast called In a Nutshell will be back. A lot of In a Nutshell fans have been I feel it's time for us to get back. Myself and the squad, Ovi Godwin and Shy Talk.
Oh my God, Ovi.
Yeah. So yeah.
Of course, it was wonderful having you here as a guest, and of course on this special edition of our special podcast.
Thank you so much.
Of course, we had to have SLK here with the silk voice. I can't wait to see all of the things you've told us that you have lined up. Of course, it's all about creating your chance, and the Humour Awards is here. The Humour Awards Academy is here to enhance whatever you guys do and, shine and show it to the rest of the world. So, wow, we can't wait to see all of that. So thank you so much, SLK, for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I like this handshake. Thank you.